Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. This is Riddhika Asthana. Today we are going to read a poem called After Great Pain, a Formal Feeling Comes. This poem is written by Emily Elizabeth Dickinson, the major poet in America. She was born on 10th of December in 1830 in Amherst, US and was educated in Mount Holyoke Academy. एमिली डिकिंसन की लाइफ बहुत सी प्रॉब्लम्स और लोनलीनेस से भरी हुई थी। वो अपनी पूरी लाइफ घर के अंदर ही बिताती थी और बाहरी लोगों से उन्हें बिल्कुल भी लगाव नहीं था। तो अपने दुख और अकेलेपन को ही पोएटिस अपनी पोएम्स के थ्रू बाहर लाया करती थी। डिस्पाइट बीइंग अवे फ्रॉम द वर्ल्ड, शी हैज़ रिटन अराउंड 1775 poems in her life. That is very close to her heart. Therefore, we can say, in a way, she reveals herself in her poems. She died on 15th of May in 1886, and when she died, her younger sister, Lavinia Norcross Dickinson, brought all these poems out. Most of her poems deal with nature, love, immortality, and death. The death of her father, her mother, her nephew, and some of her friends, which left a very deep impact on her mind and on her psyche. Probably that is what prompted her to write so many poems on death and pain. It's called After Great Pain, a Formal Feeling Comes. It is one of the best and famous poems about pain. Emily Dickinson wrote this poem in 1862, but it was first published in the year 1890, 4 years after her death. The poem After Great Pain speaks about the development of emotional and psychological changes after facing a traumatic situation. It also illustrates how, as humans, we face the challenges and move on in our life. जब किसी अपने की डेथ हो जाए तो उसके दुख से उबरने के लिए इंसान को कितना वक्त लगता है, इस तरह की परिस्थिति को झेलने के दौरान इंसान किन किन साइकोलॉजिकल, इमोशनल पेन, फिजियोलॉजिकल और एक तरह से मेंटल टॉर्चर की प्रोसेस से होकर गुजरता है, तो बेसिकली उस इंसान के इस बहुत बड़े दुख से बाहर निकलने की प्रोसेस को ही एमिली डिकिंसन ने इस पोएम में बताया है। एमिली डिकिंसन इज अ डेथ कॉन्शियस पोएट. थ्रू आउट हर लाइफ शी ट्राइज टू अंडरस्टैंड व्हाट डेथ इज. अपनी पूरी लाइफ में पोएटेस ने डेथ को समझने की कोशिश की है. द पोएम इज अबाउट पेन, trauma, and you can say sorrow. After great pain, a formal feeling comes. पोएम की टाइटल लाइन 2 पार्ट्स में है, एक आफ्टर ग्रेट पेन और एक अ फॉर्मल फीलिंग कम्स. दोनों एक दूसरे से ऑपोजिट है. यहाँ ग्रेट पेन का रिलेशन डेथ से है और फॉर्मल फीलिंग का रिलीफ और सुकून से है. पेन here in this poem is obviously not a physical pain. It is some great sorrow and mental pain which leaves the mind numbed. All of us have faced this kind of pain in our life, and this particular poem traces pain, especially at the time of death. Now, let us understand the poem stanza by stanza. After great pain, a formal feeling comes. The nerves sit ceremonious like tombs. The stiff heart questions, was it he that bore? And yesterday or centuries before. The feet mechanical go round a wooden way of ground or air or odd, regardless groan, acquires contentment like a stone. This is the hour of lead, remembered if outlived, as freezing persons recollects the snow, first chill, then stupor, then the letting go. The poem is divided into 3 stanzas. All the 3 stanzas talk about death. They are associated with the funeral ceremony. Poem 3 stanzas में divided है और तीनों stanzas में poetess ने death की 3 stages को personify किया है. The first stanza talks about the death or the formal service. The second stanza talks about the procession, and the third stanza talks about the procedure of burial. Let's understand the first stanza clearly. After great pain, a formal feeling comes. After great pain, we feel numb. There is a numbness in our heart. We do not feel anything. Everything is senseless. We do not have any sense. जब इंसान के ऊपर बहुत भारी दुख पड़ता है तब उसके अंदर की सारी फीलिंग्स मर जाती हैं. उसके सोचने समझने की शक्ति खत्म हो जाती है और वो पूरी तरह से पेन में डूब जाता है. That pain is so torturing that we do not feel anything else. And a formal feeling comes कि इस ग्रेट पेन के बाद हमारी बॉडी बिल्कुल रिलैक्स हो जाती है. वो पेन हमें इतना मजबूत बना देता है कि उसके बाद हमें कुछ भी फील नहीं होता. The nerves sit ceremonious like tombs. Nerves sit, जिसका लिटरल मीनिंग देखा जाए तो नर्व्स यानी नसों का बैठ जाना. अगर नसें काम करना बंद कर दे तो इंसान की डेथ हो जाएगी. और यहाँ पोइटेस ने नर्व्स को मेटाफोरिकली पीपल से रिलेट किया जो किसी की फ्यूनरल सेरेमनी अटेंड करने आए हो, अफसोस करने आए हो और बिल्कुल शांत होकर बैठ गए हो. दे सिट इन अ हस्ड साइलेंस. एंड टूम्स का मतलब कॉफिन या कब्र होता है. इट इज़ नॉर्मली अ प्लेस वेयर डेड आर बरिड इन. टूम्स रिफ्लेक्ट डेथ. इट रिफ्लेक्ट्स funeral setting. Tomb has a very quiet appearance. For example, the Taj Mahal is a big tomb. The symbol of tomb is an example of a person who has suffered a lot of pain. And then the next lines of the poem says, the stiff heart questions, was it he that bore, and yesterday or centuries before? The heart is stiff. Stiff means sakht and hard. The heart is unable to take in any more pain now. So the heart questions, was it he? The he in this line is Jesus Christ. The heart is questioning, was it Christ that really bore all? Bore means बर्दाश्त करना या झेलना. Was it Christ that really bore all the burdens of the people of mankind? Was he really crucified for all the wrongdoings of the mankind? Crucified means क्रॉस या सूली पर चढ़ाना. तो क्या जीसस क्राइस्ट हम इंसानों के बुरे कर्मों की सज़ा को अपने ऊपर झेल कर खुद सूली पर चढ़ गए थे? And in the fourth line, she again asks, was it yesterday or centuries before? Here she compares, was it Christ who really bore the cross on him? And was it yesterday or was it centuries before? क्या ये कल की ही बात है या आज से सदियों पहले की? क्योंकि अब पोएटिस एमिली डिकिंसन अपने इस पेन को जीसस क्राइस्ट के उस पेन से रिलेट कर पा रही हैं. नाउ कमिंग टू द सेकेंड स्टैंजा. द फीट मैकेनिकल गो राउंड a wooden way of ground or air or ought. These three lines of the poem is, you can say, about the dead body. The feet mechanical go round. The picture of the body is now a mechanical object. The body is no longer just feeling the pain, it is no longer like a human body. The feet mechanical go round a wooden way of ground or air or ought. एक मशीन की तरह एक डेड बॉडी को जमीन से उठाकर हवा में ले जाते हुए कहीं भी रख दिया जाता है. एंड अ वुडन वे. वुडन वे से मतलब लकड़ी के बने उस कब्र से है, उस टूम या कॉफिन से है जिसमें डेड बॉडी को रखकर उसे ज़मीन से चार कंधों में उठाकर हवा में ले जाते हुए कहीं भी रख दिया जाता है. एंड इन द नेक्स्ट लाइन्स, रिगार्डलेस ग्रोन. रिगार्डलेस मीन्स उदासीन या न्यूट्रल हो जाना, बिना किसी की परवाह किए, बिना किसी भी चीज़ का फ़र्क पड़े. सो when we are in pain and trauma, we always wait for that pain to get over. Pain cannot be contained in time and space. It seems to be unending. It seems to be ever-going process. पेन में इंसान भी बिल्कुल डेड बॉडी की तरह मैकेनिकल हो जाता है, उसे टाइम और प्लेस का कुछ पता नहीं होता. Because that pain, the death has made it numbed. It does not really know what is happening to the body. Then acquires contentment like a stone. Then finally this pain is equal to quartz. Quartz एक तरह का स्फटिक का पत्थर होता है, चट्टान की तरह बहुत मजबूत होता है, जो डेड होता है. उसमें कोई भी लाइफ नहीं होती. And it is a hard mineral which has a cold sensitive quality. इसमें कोई भी फील, इमोशन, पेन, डिज़ायर नहीं होता. The pain finally makes the body like that. उस इंसान के अंदर भी कोई डिज़ायर नहीं रह जाती, जो बिल्कुल एक स्टोन की तरह, एक पत्थर की तरह हो जाता है, जिसमें जीने की इच्छा नहीं बचती है. बट देन शी ऑल्सो टॉक्स अबाउट कंटेंटमेंट. Contentment is a state of satisfaction. Once a person feels pain, his soul is elevated, his soul is raised from the body. There is a change. Pain makes us better. Here, poetess realizes that pain is very important in our life. Without pain, there's no life. Pain elevates our soul. Pain makes us more humane, more kind. And this is exactly what she is trying to bring out in this stanza, that pain goes beyond. फिर एक इम्पॉर्टेंट टाइम आता है इस तरह की सिचुएशन से गुजरने के बाद. दिस इज द आवर ऑफ लेड, रिमेंबर्ड if outlived. There are rarely any people who remember this pain, because very rarely people outlived this pain. It is only when they can speak their experiences. कुछ लोग इस परिस्थिति से, उस मेंटल स्टेट से बाहर निकल पाते हैं, but according to the poetess, not many people outlive this pain. It is very difficult for people to come back from that state and tell what they have experienced in past. Because this pain leads to death. किसी अपने की मौत की वजह से कोई जीवन भर उस दर्द से निकल नहीं पाता है, उस सिचुएशन को फेस नहीं कर पाता है. पर कुछ लोग ऐसा कर भी लेते हैं और एक हेल्दी और नॉर्मल स्टेट में आते हैं. As freezing persons recollect the snow, first chill, then stupor, then the letting go. Here again she talks about the dead body in these lines. Who is freezing and what happens when a person is freezing? The first thing, when the person is there, जब एक dead body को -20 या 25 डिग्री टेम्परेचर में रखा जाता है, that hits the body, that hits the muscles and the bone, that freezes the whole body. What does he feel? The first thing he feels is chilled, that runs through the body. Chilled, that gets into the body, its nerves, it hits at the bone, and then there is stupor. Stupor means unconscious or unable to act or think normally. That is, there is numbness all around, people cannot feel anything, and finally there is a letting go. First there is chilled, then there is numbness, and finally the body lets go. The body lets go of the life insert it. So, this is what happens to the person at the end. It is not just physical death, but it is also spiritual death that she is talking about in this poem. And the terrible struggle that the body faces when it is getting separated from the soul. Emily Dickinson has a keen observation. She was a deep thinker. She always perhaps looked at the dead body, death, than any other person's, because her house was in Amherst and it was close to the cemetery, means graveyard. So often she would see funeral procession moving in front of her house, and that laid very big impact on her mind, and perhaps that is the reason why she writes so many on death and pain, and she hopes that there is something called immortality after death. So, in this poem, she is trying to analyze what the pain is. What happens when the body starts feeling pain? Pain is a learning experience that everyone's perception of life have definitely changed a lot after facing such kind of pain. The poem deals with various phases of a funeral ceremony. The first stanza talks about the formal service. The second stanza talks about a body becoming just like a motionless object. And the third stanza, the way when the body finally let go of its life or leave its life. After discussing the whole poem, let's come to its literary devices that are assonance, alliteration, consonance, enjambment, imagery, personification, simile, quatrain, quatrain, stanza, rhetorical question, and last, rhyming scheme of the poem. Assonance. Assonance is the repetition of vowel sounds like A, E, I, O, U in the same line. For example, the sound of I in remembered if outlived, and the sound of A in after great pain. Then the second one is alliteration. Alliteration is the repetition of consonant sounds in the same line in quick succession. For example, the sound of F in after great pain, a formal feeling comes, and the sound of the in the line first chill, then stupor, then the letting go. Third one is consonance. Consonance is the repetition of consonant sound in the same line, such as the sound of D in remembered if outlived. अलिट्रेशन में वर्ड्स के इनिशियल में साउंड रिपीट होती है और कॉन्सोनेंस में वर्ड्स के एंड के लेटर में कॉन्सोनेंट साउंड रिपीट होती है. देन enjambment. It is defined as a thought in verse that does not come to an end at a line break. Instead, it rolls over to the next line. For example, the feet mechanical go round, a wooden way of ground or air or ought. Means there is no punctuation mark, there is no full stop, and any other mark. Then imagery. It is used to make readers perceive things involving their five senses. Writer five senses का यूज करके रीडर्स के माइंड के अंदर मेंटल इमेजेस क्रिएट करते हैं अपनी राइटिंग्स के थ्रू. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, द नर्व सिट्स सेरेमोनियस लाइक टूम्स एज फ्रीजिंग पर्सन्स रिकलेक्ट्स द स्नो एंड इन द लाइन क्वार्स कंटेंटमेंट लाइक अ स्टोन. देन personification. Personification is to give human qualities to non-human things. Heart is personified in the first stanza of the poem. In The Stiff Heart questions, was it he that bore? Then simile. It is a figure of speech to compare something with something else. Here, poetess Emily Dickinson has used this device at several places in the poem, such as a quartz contentment like a stone, like the nerve sits ceremonious like tombs, like again, and as freezing persons recollect the snow. A stanza is a poetic form of some lines. There are 3 stanzas in the poem. 2 quatrains. Quatrain is a 4-lined stanza borrowed from Persian poetry. Here the first and third stanzas are quatrain, and 1 quatrain, a stanza that contains 5 lines. Then rhetorical question. Rhetorical question is a question that is not asked to receive an answer. It is just supposed to make the point clear. Writer रीडर्स का माइंड उस बात की तरफ ले जा सके, इसलिए वो इस पोएटिक डिवाइस का यूज करते हैं. एंड एट लास्ट द राइमिंग स्कीम ऑफ द पोएम इज AA, BB, CD, EF, GH, II. So this is all about the poem After Great Pain by Emily Dickinson. Thank you so much for watching till the end. And please do like, comment, share and subscribe to my channel if you like the video.